My name is Terrisha Walcott Pierre, and I was a Master of Public Health student who got through to do my internship with Global Water Partnership Caribbean for this project here in the community. So I just wanted to give you a background of the internship with the Masters of Public Health program. The internship is an important component of the program because SU wants to ensure that students get real-world public health experience before graduating. They are trying to produce skilled public health professionals whereby they're able to merge what they learn in the classroom with practical applications in the field. SU is hoping that the public health students are able to enhance skills, meet mentors, create networks, and conduct impactful community projects like this one. And there is a structure. You first get placement with the organization like GWP-C. You get supervision from Ms. Simone and Mr. Karen. You conduct internship activities. You are able to report your findings and then do reflection. So I just wanted to give you a background of how we got here and why we were a part of this project, okay? Right. So what was the purpose and objective of the internship with GWP-C? For me, it was to acquire first-hand experience in water quality testing. And the objective basically was to test for bacteria, to test for chemical components as well as physical components, mainly from the dam and about 30 buildings within the community. So if you see that yellow star there, that is actually the location of the dam, and then the arrows basically show the houses or the buildings I did the sampling from. So I just wanted to give you that background. So then what are the parameters that I was testing during this project? I was looking for bacteria, specifically fecal coliform. Fecal coliform is bacteria that is in the gut of animals and human beings. Now, if fecal coliform ends up in your water, then that means there is a possibility that you can have gastro. There's a possibility that you can have a lot of other pathogenic organisms that could create problems for you. So the hope is that the water does not have any of this bacteria that is really supposed to be in our sewage system. The WHO is saying that you're not supposed to have any of that bacteria in your water, not even one. If you get one in the lab, it means that it is cause for concern. What else did I test for? I test for pH, because you don't want your water to be too acidic or too alkaline, right? You want it to be a bit neutral. I tested for alkalinity, because at times the pH changes, but you want to make sure there is enough chemical things in the water to buffer against the pH changes. And I also checked for hardness, because you don't want the water to be too hard, neither too soft, right? What else did I test for? I test for nitrate and nitrites. Where do we get these things from? From fertilizers and from animal waste. I also tested for copper. You don't want too much copper in your water because it can actually come out from the plumbing systems, end up in your body, and create problems for your kidney and your liver. Similarly with iron, we don't want the levels to be too high, so I tested for that as well. When we're talking about the temperature of the water, nobody wants to be drinking hot water from the pipe. You want cool water, because cool water would encourage you to drink more water. That's what we want. When we talk about total dissolved solids, we don't want it to be too high. The water could end up being too bitter or too salty. And finally, we talk about turbidity, how clear the water is. We want to ensure that we're not drinking any murky water, but we are drinking crystal clear water. Is everybody with me? All right, let's go. So then what did I do? In terms of the sampling design, my sampling sites, well, I made the trek up to the dam 3 times. So I took water from the dam, and because I realized the community is basically in a Y shape, with the limited resources I had, I decided to take 10 from one side, 10 from the other side, and 10 from the final side. So I end up with 32 samples. And I remember somebody asking me, well, why are you taking water from me and my neighbor down the road? I said, Miss, the plumbing system in your pipe would not be the same as the person's plumbing system later down the road. I said the slope of where your house is would not be the same as the slope down the road. The land usage, your proximity to the to potential pollution sources. I said, and throughout the community, we don't have the same amount of people in each part of the community. So that's why I decided to spread out the sampling to get a better, a more comprehensive assessment of what your water quality is up here. So in total, I had 32 samples, right? So I know the persons who I dealt with, they saw me with my bucket, and in my bucket I had my cup, my bottle with alcohol, I had my thermometer to test the temperature, I had my machines to test all the dissolved substances and the turbidity, and everybody saw me with my strip. And I'm so happy that a few persons, they said yes, they will help me in using the strips to test the water. So that was very nice. So this is me. The first image is my first journey up the mountain to the dam. It took me probably 40 minutes to go up and 40 minutes to come back down, but I made it, right? You could see in the second picture, I'm not smiling because I say, whoa, boy, that's tough, but I made it, right? And the third picture, I think that is by one of the churches where I was collecting the water. And then I brought the bottles back to the lab at St. George's University. So in the first image, you can see the bottles, the water I collected. In the second image, that's the apparatus I used to basically filter the water so then I can do the lab test. And remember I said that when we're talking about bacteria, we don't want to see any bacteria from the lab, all right? So what did I find? From the 32 samples that I got from the community, all of them showed that we had bad bacteria, indicating that we have all of them show that we had bacteria, indicating we have bad bacteria in the water. Yeah, that's what I found. What is the problem? We could have a lot of cases of gastro in the community. What could be the possible reason for the bad bacteria in the water? Maybe your pipes were leaking. Maybe we have bad sewage systems in the community. Maybe we have runoff from the farmers in the area. Maybe we have wildlife like mongoose or whatever, you know, dropping things in the water. And it could be because we don't have any treatment system up here. So we have a lot of maybes, right? Why are we concerned? If you get any bacteria in your water, the WHO is saying that it is deemed unfit for consumption. Nobody should be drinking water with bacteria in it. What are the suggestions? Maybe boil the water. I know the community is against chlorination, but we could also filter the water, okay? So this is just an example of what I found in the lab. Remember I said the WHO is saying that we shouldn't have anything in the lab. And if you see one, then you should flag it that this water is unsafe. And as you can see, for a lot of the plates here, it's more than one, more than two, more than three, more than four. Some of them you can't even count them. This is an indication of the bacteria that is currently in the water that you are drinking, okay? When we go on to the chemical findings now, almost all of the samples were acceptable for the chemical constituents. So in terms of your nitrate and your copper and your iron and so on, almost all of the samples were fit for consumption, right? And when we move on, go ahead. And when we move on to the physical things like the temperature and so, it's interesting that there were 2 times I tested the water after rainfall and the water was very, very dirty. And that's problems. If you're getting dirty water in your pipes, that means that there's a chance that you could be having a lot of gastro, a lot of issues in your gut that we don't want, okay? So what are my conclusions? Well, first of all, participating in this project in terms of water quality assessment was a key component of the project, and I'm happy to be here. It really shows the importance of having integrated water resources management. I found that there were positive fecal coliform in your water, and this indicates that your water may be bad for consumption. I found that the chemical results were good. At times I got high temperatures, and if we have high temperatures, you can damage your pipes. And finally, I found that we had turbidity at times, and that can pose problems for public health in terms of your gastro issues. So what are my key takeaways? I stand corrected, but I don't believe there is an established protocol in which water quality tests are routinely done for the community. I am assuming that there is a water management team. I was told that. So I think the water management team should be structured to ensure that we are doing regular testing, regular treatment, distribution, and monitoring. And of course, the community needs to be aware and the community needs to be educated about the status of the water and what more can be done to improve the quality, okay? And in terms of the recommendations, these are my recommendations. Identify portable sources of contamination in your community. Install water treatment technologies. So maybe you can go back to Jeff to get another grant so you can now install a slow sand filtration system, which will take away the problem you have with the bacteria. Understood? What about the water management team that you have in place? They should be releasing advisories telling you about water quality and about public health. They should organize workshops maybe with the Ministry of Health, right? And emphasizing the importance of safe drinking water and proper hand washing techniques. In the community, we can probably train a few people to be our water quality officers and then get more funding to equip these water quality officers with little kids. The same kids that I had walking around the community, these officers can get them to do regular tests for the community and give updates. And finally, maybe we can create a community policy whereby 2 to 3 times for the month, the water quality officers take the water and then bring them to Nawasa or wherever else they're doing the testing to ensure that you're getting proper water to drink, right? So finally, I want to say thank you to GWP-C for having me as an intern. I want to say thank you to you for inviting me to your homes and for working with me, and also SGU for allowing me to do the water quality testing at their labs. And this is me, my final journey up the mountain. I said, yes, I did it. I made it. So thank you for your time and attention.